So good day. Welcome back to another research. So for today, we will be talking about, or we will have an example of a quantitative research. So the title of our study is all about the perceptions on face-to-face learning and modular distance learning of senior high school students in XY High School. So for this video, we will be having the chapter 1, and on the coming videos will be the chapter 2 to chapter 5. So for the context and rationale, COVID-19 pandemic brought a crisis in different aspects of our living, one of which is in the field of education. It has changed the process of learning. Learning and progress must continue. That is why everybody in the education sector analyzed and studied a teaching modality that guarantees that learning continues while securing the health of the learners, teachers, staff, and other stakeholders. So, as a solution to the continuity of education, a sudden shift from traditional face to face learning to distance learning was adopted. Distance learning is a learning modality in which the teacher and the learners are physically separated during the course of instruction. This modality has three types: the modular distance learning, the online distance learning, and the TV radio based instruction. And the modular distance learning involves instruction that allows the learners to use self learning modules in print or digital format or electronic copy. Due to the declining number of COVID-19 cases in the country, the Department of Education proposed the pilot implementation of face-to-face classes to about 100 public and 20 private schools in the Philippines in consideration of education quality, mental health, economic issues amidst pandemic. And on September 20, 2021, came the announcement of President Rodrigo Duterte's approval of the department's proposal. According to LEGO 2021, face-to-face learning is a learning delivery method in which both the students and the teacher are physically present in the classroom, wherein learners can actively engage in the teaching learning process and teachers can immediately give feedback to their students. This learning modality can enhance students' social emotional development. Education Secretary Leonor Briones reported that 287 schools across the country successfully participated in the pilot run of face-to-face classes from November 15 to December 22, 2021. That is according to Backleague 2022. Despite the threat of the new COVID-19 variant Omicron, the Department of Education pushes its plan to expand the conduct of limited face-to-face classes, which will cover all grade levels from kinder to grade 12. Given the President's approval of the recommendation for the progressive expansion to face classes last February 2022, Secretary Briones has authorized all regional directors to commence the progressive expansion phase of face-to-face classes for both public and private schools. So, following the directive by Secretary Briones for regions to conduct the readiness assessment in all schools during the pilot implementation period, regional directors submitted a list of 6,686 schools nationwide that have passed the school safety assessment tool, of which 6,586 are public schools and 100 are private schools. The number of schools listed will progressively increase as the school will be able to address gaps in their school safety assessment tool. In lieu with that, XY High School implemented the progressive expansion of face-to-face classes which started last April 4, 2022. Out of 993 enrolled students, only 277 or 28% participated from the senior high school department. Currently, XY High School Senior High School Department offers two learning modalities: face-to-face instruction and modular distance learning, both in printed and digital modality, to ensure all students have access in their academe. Thus, this research study aimed to explore the senior high school learners' perception on face-to-face learning modality and modular distance learning in XY High School to acquire deeper understanding of the effectiveness of current practices and provide further recommendations to the administration to enhance students' experience. And for the statement of the problem, This research study aimed to explore the senior high school learners' perception on face-to-face learning modality and modular distance learning in XY High School. Specifically, it attempts to answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of the following: grade level, sex, learning modality, work status, and civil status? Number 2, how does the learner's perception be described in relation to communication, modular distance learning, face-to-face learning, learning, and the preference for school year 2022-2023? And for number 3, based on the findings, what proposed measures can be formulated to improve face-to-face and modular distance learning approach? So this is the figure number 1, the conceptual framework. So this study focused on the senior high school learners' perception on face-to-face learning modality and modular distance learning in XY High School. So figure 1 shows the framework of the study. The study looked on the demographic profile of the students and how learners' perception be described in relation to modular distance learning, face-to-face learning modality, learning and preference for school year 2022-2023. It was done through the adopted survey questionnaire, which were prepared in printed and in Google Forms and administered by the researcher. The results were tallied and tabulated and applied statistical treatment. Thus, the implication of the study on the perceptions of the senior high school students on face-to-face learning and modular distance learning were identified and measures were proposed. Significance of the study. This study will be significant in the learner's overall learning experiences. The results of the study will be valuable and benefit the following. First, the students. This study will improve learners' overall learning experience both in the face-to-face and modular distance learning. Second is for the teachers. The collected data in this study will help teachers to assess their teaching strategies and will help them to plan their teaching and learning approach. Third one, the school administrators. The results obtained in this study will serve as a guide to the school administrators on how they will craft best and sound policies in regards to the learning modalities for the next school year. Then, it is also significant to the parents. This study will provide information to the parents and guardian of the possible resources that they will need to support their children financially, morally, emotionally, and in any learning modality. And lastly, for the other researchers, this study will add to the body of knowledge that other researchers can use as a reference material to determine where there are gaps in the literature for further studies on relevant topics. Scope and the limitations. The focus of this study is to know the learner's perceptions on face-to-face learning and modular distance learning in XY High School. Also, this will cover their profile, grade level, section, sex, etc. The ways on how they spend their time, how they communicate with their teachers and classmates, students' initiative to communicate to their teachers, their modular distance learning experience, pre-pandemic face-to-face instruction experience, and their preference for the school year 2022-2023. The study limits its coverage on 278 respondents out of 993 grade 11 and grade 12 students enrolled in the second semester at XY High School in the school year 2021-2022. The study will utilize survey questionnaires in print and and using Google Forms. And that's all for the chapter 1. So wait for the next video for the chapter 2. Thank you for watching.